Moving on to number 3, appearance of interested citizens due to the coronavirus. Comments are to be provided by email to cityclerk@yubacity.net. Oral comments by phone or in person are not currently available. And we do have some public communication. I have a question. There's, I have 4 here. Apparently it's a long one and we have 4 people speaking. Tricia, are they on the phone or are we to read what they have here?
We are to read what they have here.
We are to read. Okay, and so that's the parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then the other one from Equity for Yuba City, that's a separate one?
The Equity of Yuba City submitted actually all of these. They're different representatives from
So
Equity of Yuba City.
There's 5 parts then?
Well, there's 4 parts that continue, but there's also 2 others that have submitted, but they're also representatives of Equity for Yuba City.
So the one from Equity for Yuba City, that goes with the other emails I have here, parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. They're all going to be read in succession? I'm actually, it's going to change it up just a little bit because we have one from Elisa Rojas Palato, and she's also has down on her thing Equity for Yuba City. I think that's the one I have here. I'm just trying to figure out.
There's another one from Roberto A., and he's also a representative Equity from Yuba City. So actually all 6 that I have in front of me are part of the Equity for Yuba City, but 4 of them are basically parts 1, 2, 3, and 4.
That's what I was trying to get.
So I'll read those.
I didn't know
4
if
in
this one went
succession.
with 1, 2, 3, and 4, so it's a 5, or it's a separate thing together. Regardless, you'll have 5 minutes to read 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I'm going to relieve you of the burden, not the burden, but the task, and I'm going to read Roberto A's first.
Okay.
All right? Mm-hmm. And then we'll move on to 1, 2, 3, and 4.
No, Elisa Rojas Palato, hers, and then 1, 2, and 3, and 4
Right.
together. Yes.
Right. Okay. So we're good. And so now we are in, just for clarification, we're on item number 3, public communication. I do have one in front of me from Roberto A. And then we're going to read another one from Elisa Rojas Palato, followed by parts 1, 2, 3, and 4 of another presentation. And then we will follow that up with any commentary that comes in while we're reading these things. All right? So if we can hit the timer for me, and I'm going to read this. Dear Yuba City Council, my name is Roberto, and I am a representative of Equity for Yuba City, using these 3 minutes, he actually has 5, to discuss the importance of allocating funds toward mental health services. While there are many important services to Yuba City's daily operations, mental health services must be funded with greater emphasis to avoid having the wrong people respond to those in need, especially to the people living in poverty. As Yuba City's poverty rate is about 16%, according to Census.gov's 2019 data, children in poverty are at greater risk of mental health and behavioral issues such as impulsiveness, aggressiveness, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and conduct disorder. Common emotional problems include feelings of anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem, which may lead to risky behaviors such as smoking, using alcohol, and drugs. The chronic stress of living in poverty has been shown to affect concentration and memory, which may affect the ability to learn and succeed in school. Thus, children living in poverty are more likely to have difficulty in school and drop out. This is directly quoted from the Yuba Center Mental Health Plan. Why am I mentioning poverty in schooling? This directly affects those with mental health disorders and need proper attention and care. Our schools serve as a safe havens for students. Our city must provide adequate services for struggling students. We must avoid students resorting to such measures of drug abuse rather than having them neglect issues in their lives. Although Yuba Center has spent more for crisis counselors and staff overall for mental health support, it's not enough. These mental health services need to be spread to our schools to best support students with the right counselors and to overwhelm those school counselors that juggle multiple students with high pressures. Our area sees 11.9% of hospital stays. are from mental diseases and disorders among those under 18. This number may be insignificantly small, however, it is one of the top 5 diagnoses in Sutter County. While I may not have time to show data and statistics, I hope this brings awareness to the importance of providing more funding for mental health services in our area. We are collectively responsible for shaping our next generation of successful people in Yuba City. That is from Roberto A. And whenever you're ready, we can begin with the others.
All right, this is from Elisa Pilato, or Elisa Rojas Pilato, and her title, actually, she's a student at the University of California, Los Angeles. Defunding the Police is a movement to abolish police. A quick guide to reimagining public safety. Reimagining public safety involves following a community-led safety model that includes investing in mental health and harm reduction approaches. Rather than funding police to bring violence and harm to our communities, we want to invest in communities themselves to determine what they need and offer them support in executing those programs. Specific initiatives that could be included in this category: family counseling, restorative justice programs, gang prevention, intervention, recovery without police involvement, domestic violence prevention, intervention, recovery without police involvement. Why defund the police? By defunding the police, we can reassess resources currently being invested in policing and the overall system in incarceration, and put that money towards services that actually work to keep our community safe. It's a divest, invest model. Divest from policing, invest in our communities. If we don't need more police, what do we need? We need affordable housing to compact and racist gentrification in our neighborhoods. We need jobs for young people in communities of color. We need to solve the growing problem of homelessness in the city. We need unarmed, non-law enforcement to respond to calls. This means utilizing people with specialized training who are better equipped than the police to handle situations dealing with mental health, medical emergencies, domestic violence, homelessness, and more. Defunding the police isn't the end goal, but a first step. Defunding the police is the first step in a transformation new approach that involves funding grassroots initiatives for restorative justice, housing, healthcare, employment, and other services. When people say defund the police, they are calling on city leaders to recognize their citizens as people who deserve to live in safe, abundant communities free from violent policing. All right, now we have parts 1, 2, 3, and 4. And part 1 is from Serene here, and she's from Yuba City. And she's part of the Equity for Yuba City. We surveyed the Yuba City community recently and have compiled some statistics about what people are thinking. All data has come from Google surveys sent via social media and email. There's a sample of 84 people who took the survey. Testimonials, opinions were directly copied and pasted and were not altered. From our data, we can conclude that there is a great amount of support for more resources to be allocated to programs such as education, healthcare, environment, mental health, etc. In the following slides, there are demographics of the people who took the survey. Most people who took the survey are between the ages of 18 and 25 and have attended YCUS D, so Yuba City Unified School District Public School. So it can be concluded that they have experience with the education system in Yuba City. Inhabitant status, their question was, are you an inhabitant or have you been an inhabitant of Yuba City? And you can see it on the board. They have 92.9 say yes. Demographic zip code, what is your zip code? And it's up there on the board. Majority are 95993 and 95991. Yuba City Unified School District schooling and education level, and that's up on the pie chart up there, and you have it in front of you. Gender and sexual orientation, and you have, again, that in front of you. Age, the majority are 18 to 25, as she said earlier. Race, ethnicity, yeah, you can look into the pie chart on that. Financial insecurity. And housing insecurity. Employment. Food insecurity. Immunocompromised. Place of residence. And that's part 1. Part 2, the Voices of Yuba City. This was submitted by Equity for Yuba City, so I'm not sure if there's a person or it's just the group. Again, there's a lot of charts and graphs that you'll have in front of you that you could look over, and there's some on they're behind me too. Universal needs and crisis management. And the next page again goes through child and youth development, environmental justice and climate change, emergency preparedness, and they were asked to rank their priorities on a scale of 0 to 4. The next graph shows universal needs and crisis management and public health and health care. Again, the bar graph is right in front of you. Built environment, they're looking at public works, fixing potholes, et cetera, and survey respondents were asked to rank their priorities based on a scale of 0 to 4. And again, you have that in front of you. Law enforcement, armed policemen for nonviolent crimes, participate in Yuba City gang enforcement and SWAT, and they were asked to rank their priorities. And the next one is law enforcement. They're asking police in school. Again, they were ranking their priorities from 0 to 4. A reimagined community, they're looking at restorative justice models, community care workers, gang violence intervention workers, and they did their ranking again. And community safety reimagined, again, they've got their numbers there. Their conclusions are, as shown on the previous slides, it can be concluded that there is unwavering support for money to be taken away from law enforcement. Instead, people want more money invested in parks and recreation, public works, libraries, public transportation, and the fire department. A huge majority of the people want more money towards public health, healthcare, environmental justice, and climate change, child and youth development, and emergency preparedness. In addition, in terms of community safety, majority of people want more money towards community care workers, gang violence intervention workers, domestic violence workers from the community, mental health and wellness, family counseling, community-led crisis response workers, restorative justice models, community healing circles, alternates to policing, reparations to victims, and community investment and neighborhood empowerment. And now we're on Voices of Yuba City. This is part 3. This was submitted by Jaylyn Soto, and she's also a student at the University of California, Los Angeles. Opinions to the questions. Please feel free to share your thoughts. What else the budget could be used towards in the community? Preventive health care. We need to have stricter health measures, such as no more huge public gatherings and parties or anything that will help spread the virus even more. Also, more money and resources towards schools. Teachers are literally having to pay for their own supplies, and the school district is experiencing a $10 million loss while the police is being funded more. Another comment, rather than using tax dollars to fund the police force at an overwhelming rate, I would suggest that all the funds be reallocated to benefit the entirety of the Yuba City community. Investment should be inserted in the education system, parks and recreation, food and housing, security for those who are less fortunate. This includes the homeless population, healthcare emergency services, fire department, EMT, public transit, mental health, public events, and upkeep of public property. Our brief list would increase the overall happiness of the community as well as decrease the need for the police department. Our tax dollars should directly benefit the people that inhabit this town. Next comment, money should be used towards education, improving teacher salaries, improving educational opportunities, and more community classes, maybe general classes about health care, law, etc. Considering a majority of the population doesn't have adequate knowledge of many subjects, and it's often used against them. More opinions. Part of the budget, I believe, should be proceeded to Gray Avenue Middle School. I work there after school programs, and that school is probably the most underfunded school out of all the other schools in the Yuba City Unified School District. The school is very low poverty and has many students facing everyday problems. Multiple students are homeless, their parents in prison, and are dealing with raising their siblings. Most of the kids grew up at a young age. Another part of the budget needs to go towards the homeless people in this area. The Habitat for Humanity should be donated money. There is a huge homeless population here that many people do not realize. One more category that would be beneficial is for mental health. I have struggled with mental health, and I know it's extremely expensive, and the resources are hard to find. I think people need to have easier resources and granted mental health benefits. More opinions. I believe these.
That's 3 minutes.
That's 3 minutes. All right, I'll move on to part 4. Okay, part 4 of Voices of Yuba City was submitted by Hector Diaz of Yuba City. Testimonials to the question. Please feel free to share any experience you have had personally or witnessed in which Yuba City policemen treated you or someone else unfairly. This includes experiencing racist behavior, insults, or unnecessary force. First comment, wrongfully accused members of my family for involvement in shootings, drug deals, and stolen property for fitting a description that have had no connection other than the AR Mexican men. I've been driven around by many adults in my life, but the person who gets pulled over consistently for no apparent reason is my grandfather, who wears a turban. I don't believe that's just a coincidence. Next, Domestic violence cases are some of the most dangerous calls in the county. Explicit, sending social workers. I am always second priority due to the color of my skin. I am looked at as if I'm illiterate. I've been called racial slurs as well as been racially profiled. I have not had a run-in with the police department that involved racial slurs, insults, etc. I try to stay away from police as I fear for my safety when they are around. I'm sure that if I hadn't encountered police more, I would have experience related to the prompt. More testimonials. I have only seen Yuba City cops be generally nice in my experience, but that does not erase the fact that the police in this country have too much power over underprivileged groups. The duties that the cops are tasked with that don't directly respond to violent threats should be instead directed towards other trained professionals. For example, there are cops who have to attend to the homeless drug-using population. There was a time on 2nd Street where a police officer was gently asking drug-using homeless man to relocate. This is a common occurrence. While the cop was nice about it, there are other individuals like social workers better equipped to give these people the mental and physical help they need. It is so important to fund such initiatives. Cops have the responsibility to attend to so many different types of issues. I think it is important to divert the budget to better fund the arts in the community, such as art classes, as well as the rest of the community. Next testimonial. I was walking with my friend and he was wearing red and a cop pulled over. 3 minutes. Okay, that's 3 minutes. And these will be posted to our website, the ones that I couldn't complete reading.
Just confirming they don't get 5 if they've submitted ahead of time? They don't?
That has to be 24 hours.
Oh, they weren't within 24,
They did not
okay.
come out 24
All right.
hours before.
Just making sure.
Yeah, there were
Thank you.
only a couple that came before.
And you say there were not more submitted? No more comments after?
No more comments on this. Now, we do have some things on the computer. All right. As morality declines and the personal work ethic declines, the police state rises. As more people become more dependent instead of independent, the police state rises. We have lost the rugged individualism that was part of this nation's inception. Listening to prior comments on defunding the police, it is clear that we have, and it's cut off, so I'm not sure what the rest of that was, and that was from Thomas Burns. And then he has another one that came in 3 minutes later. There's plenty of work for anyone who is willing to work. As an employer for over 25 years, I have seen less and less people who want to work. Many want a check, but do not want to work. And again, that was Thomas Burns, the second one. And now from Karen Hess. Oh, she just had a comment, it's okay. All right, that's all I have right now.
May I please ask you to read Tom's first comment? I missed that one.
The first one
Reread, just
on the
reread it.
morality. Okay,
One just now, he had 2?
right.
Just repeat
The first one was as morality declines and the personal work ethic declines, the police state rises. As more people become more dependent instead of independent, the police state rises. We have lost the rugged individualism that was part of this nation's inception. Listening to the prior comments on defunding the police, it is clear to me that we have, and it says MO, and I don't know what the rest of it. Oh, will it? Okay, sorry. Okay, Oh, okay. I see it's down below. It is clear to me that we have more and more losers who want to feed on others.
Thank you.
That's the rest of his comment.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
All right, so confirming, for item number 3, we have nothing further, either written or online.
Nothing further.
All right.